The new changing facilities are fantastic, brings a real brightness for our walk-in values. We ask the players just to concentrate on the rugby element side of things, and close working group have worked hard to let the players do that, and the changing rooms are certainly one part of that. It's part of their toolkit.
Well, this changing room, for example, the plasterboard was falling off the ceiling. There was a lot of damp and mould in here. We've got under sixes to youth and 2 senior teams running, so we need all the changing rooms running all the time. So the facility's grand. We wouldn't have been able to do it without the WRU helping us, so it's been a really big help for us. It took between 6 and 7 weeks in total, but we did have a little bit of a break in the middle because we had such hot weather. Putting the ventilation system in the attic was a bit of an arduous task, so they had to pull off for a week. But yeah, so it was really quick. Really happy with the work and the contractors.
It means a lot. As a club and a community, we've been on a journey for about 7-8 years, really incorporating bleed black and amber as a club motto, and that does transpire from million juniors up to seniors and back again.
We couldn't have done it without the WRU backing because of the cost of the changing rooms to be done. We just wouldn't have been able to with the funds that we've got. We've been happy with the last 125 years, and hopefully with the WRU backing we can get through the next 125 years plus.
P'un eich bod chi'n chwarae yng nghysgodion y gair gydarnaf y myd rygbi, neu mas yn wyll cefn gwlad Cymru.
Thomas Williams will score for Wales.
Rydych chi'n rhan o'n tîm ni, eich tîm chi.
Around the corner they come through Snowsell, and Jasmine Joyce gets there.
Mae ceidwad y crys hwn yn cynrychioli pawb arall sy'n ei wisgo.
Bron a chyrraedd, un hyrddiad arall a dyna'r fuddugoliaeth. Josh Adams wedi dalu, sgoni!
O gymoedd godidog y de i fynyddoedd mawreddog y gogledd, mae cais sy'n cael ei sgorio fan hyn wedi dechrau'r holl ffordd yn ôl fanna.
Hannah Jones seals this victory for Wales!
Gan bod taith pob chwaraewr yn dechrau mewn clwb rygbi yn Rhywle.
Out to David Butcher. Butcher back inside to Fenwick to Bennett. Oh, this is going to be the cry of the championship. Cuthbert's second try. Wales are storming to the title.
Heb hyn, ac hebddo chi, bydden ni byth yn dyst i hyn.
To put the seal on the win, to put the cream on the Grand Slam cake.
Eich crys chi yw'r crys yma, eich gêm chi yw'r gêm yma. Dyma ble rydyn ni gyd, trwy'r ychydig a ddewiswyd, yn dod yn un. Ymlaen Cymru.
It's been an initiative, FitBed, run by the WRU, and currently today we're working here within the Dragons region with all the disability children from around our region. It was lovely to see them all today here.
I was very excited for today to meet up with the trainers, the coaches, all my friends from normal rugby training, just to have a day out.
As a mother, to see Regan playing with other children today is just a godsend. Like, without the inclusion sport, Regan wouldn't have anything. As where we live, we haven't got any football teams, rugby teams that will take on children with additional needs, so this is very, very important.
Ready? Come on, sweetheart. Go on, let you go.
Had it. Wow. You are so strong.
My son is Leo, he's 9 years old and he's got Down syndrome. You need groups like this that can have children who've got all different abilities but with a disability, and they can be blossom in that ability then, you know, in that sport. It is respite for myself as well, because I can send him here and then he just has fun with meeting new friends and building his confidence.
Rugby is a game for everybody, and it should be a game for everybody. And I think now the Union and the Dragons and the other regions alike are really focusing on that inclusion, on those inclusion strategies to make sure that everything's accessible no matter what disability you have. So we like to think that these sort of things are the kickstart for those children then to move forward and enjoy rugby.
P'un eich bod chi'n chwarae yng nghysgodion y gair gydarnaf y myd rygbi. Neu mas yn wyll cefn gwlad Cymru.
Thomas Williams will score for Wales.
Rydych chi'n rhan o'n tîm ni, eich tîm chi.
Around the corner they come through Snowsell, and Jasmine Joyce gets there.
Mae ceidwad y Crys hwn yn cynrychioli pawb arall sy'n ei wisgo.
Bron a chyrraedd, un hyrddiad arall a dyna'r fuddugoliaeth. Josh Adams yn ei dalu, sgoni!
O gymoedd godidog y de i fynyddoedd mawreddog y gogledd, mae cais sy'n cael ei sgorio fan hyn wedi dechrau'r holl ffordd yn ôl fanna.
Hannah Jones seals this victory for Wales.
Gan bod taith pob chwaraewr yn dechrau mewn clwb rygbi yn Rhywle.
Out to David Butcher. Butcher back inside to Fenwick to Bennett. Oh, this is going to be the cry of the championship. Government second try. Wales are storming to the title.
Heb hyn, ac hebddo chi, bydden ni byth yn dyst i hyn.
To put the seal on the win, to put the cream on the Grand Slam cake.
Eich Crys chi yw'r Crys yma. Eich gêm chi yw'r gêm yma. Dyma ble rydyn ni gyd trwy'r ychydig a ddewiswyd yn dod yn un. Ymlaen Cymru.
Bore da, chroeso cynnes unwaith eto I Stadiwm Principality. Hello and a very warm welcome, good morning here from the Principality Stadium. Once again this weekend, the sun is shining on the home of Welsh rugby, and today we have Adam Taylor of the WRU back with us again. Good morning, Adam.
Morning, guys.
Get much sleep?
Pleasure to be there. Oh, well, it was a late night and an early start again to get everything ready, but we're there or thereabouts anyway, so all set for another cracker.
Yeah, here this morning, Rhys William, you had a late night last night with the Scarlets. Not a bad day for you there?
Yeah, I'm glad you said with the Scarlets and just not a late night in general. Yeah, it was fantastic down there. It was great for the Scarlets. They were really under the cosh in the second half, even though that Claremont had had a red card, you know, but they turned it around in the last sort of 7-8 minutes, and they're in the semi-final of the European Challenge Cup, you know. So, and that's what it's all about, really, today. You get into a cup final and playing at these fantastic venues all around the world. But today it's most probably the home of Welsh rugby and the best stadium in the world, Principality Stadium.
Yeah. And hopefully Cardiff can reenact the results of the Scarlets last night and find their way through to the next round as well. But we've got a full jam-packed day of men's finals rugby here from the Principality. All starting off with the men's Division 5 final between Crumlin and Ferndale. And let's have a look at the Crumlin starting lineup. Cole James and Ethan Chess captaining side from 10. They're the halfbacks. Morgan Smith and Ryan Lewis, the centre partnership. Joel Whitcomb at full-back with Dylan Foxwell and Corey Strickland out wide, obviously hoping for plenty of ball in perfect conditions. And the starting 8, Gavin Spencer, Jacob Hill and Dan Lewis, the front row. Jordan Hughes, Gethin Hockey in the second row with Kieran Lewis and Tyler Madden-Smith on the flanks with Kyle Walton at the number 8. And the Crumlin replacement hoping to inject a bit of energy late on in the day to secure this trophy. Nathan Evans, Cameron Powell, Ewan Lewis, Steele Jones, Lloyd Davis, Scott Barnes, Evan Miles and Taylor Smith. And that's the Crumlin lineup for you. And the team representing Ferndale, Rhys Jones and Kieran Parrish, the halfbacks. David Gibbs and Jamie Wicks in midfield. Nathan John, Simon Warren, the wingers, with Luke Harris at fullback. Front row, Andrew Hedford, Justin Rees, Curtis Whitford. Captain Jordan Morgan starting at 4 with Steve Daniels beside him at 5. And the back row, Adam Jones, Liam Jones and Sam Hodder. And the Ferndale replacements, Tavion Height, Kurt Jones, Lee Jones, Thomas Davis, Sean Griffiths, Evan Wheeler, Tristan Butler and Gareth Way. And that's the 23 representing Ferndale. And this is what it's all about, the Division 5 Cup. Crumlin Division 5 East against Ferndale Division 5 East Central. And Adam, you probably know these teams better than anyone. On paper, who's favourites?
It's probably a tough one to say, to be fair. I think Ferndale have had an excellent season this year, led by head coach Mark Whitford, who's reminded me plenty of times this is his 4th final today, so they're a great side. But then again, Crumlin, it's deja vu for them. They were here last year, they fell up a little bit short against a very good Tonner side, so I think it's very much 50-50, and I think one thing's for certain, it's going to be an excellent game. I think two teams who are, well, looking at them coming through the tunnel, there's some big lumps in either side, but they do like to chuck it about, so on this big pitch as well, I think we could be in for a special one here.
Yeah, we'll go through the results later on the route of both sides to get to the final. Looking on paper, maybe the only glitch in Crumlin's season is a defeat to Craig Howell. They did beat them as well in the league, so it's 1 win and 1 defeat against Craig Howell. Ferndale did manage to beat Craig Howell in the quarterfinals by 22 points to nil. So I don't know what that is, if that's a precursor, an indicator that potentially are Ferndale the favourites.
Yeah, you know, I don't think it's going to make too much difference what happens before these occasions. You know, you leave everything that's happened in the past. This is a cup final, winner takes all. Leave everything out there and don't leave an ounce out on the pitch. That's what's absolutely vital for both teams today. It's a huge occasion. Will someone feel more comfortable than others? As head coach of Ferndale, Mark Whitford, has said, he's been here before. Can he bring some of that, you know, to his players and give them some advice on what the experience is going to be like, you know? But go out there, enjoy it, leave it all out there, and do your village club proud.
Yeah, that's the task ahead of him. And there's a healthy support as well from both clubs here at the Principality, as we see the sides take the field and wave to their friends, families have come here to back them up, show some support and hopefully celebrate with them after emptying the tank over an 80-minute period. Both teams having a final word as well. A quick photo with some of the mascots before the game. We see Crumlin in their yellow and black strips, Ferndale in the blue and red. And it's perfect conditions, and we speak about this every game, every matchup here at the Principality. It's a wide pitch. It will get warm as the day goes along. It's about controlling those early nerves, that energy, and playing an 80-minute game. The game's on in the first 10 minutes.
Very early nerves, because it's 11 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be an interesting bus journey home later on this evening for both teams, I think. But, you know, that's right, you know, it's... And the sun is in a different spot today. You know, Adam knows this stadium very well. You know, the sun usually in the afternoon is right on the far stand there, you know, but today it's on the field as well. Is that going to play a part in that, do you think?
Yeah, I think it depends on the tactics of both sides. I think what you mentioned, early nerves, you could see it only takes one big up and under, fullback gets under it, and it makes or breaks his day perhaps. But it's fantastic conditions. We can't ask for better, to be fair. Pitch looks great after 3 very hard-fought games yesterday, so I think we're good to go for another outstanding day.
Did the ground staff make it in this morning, by the way?
I can confirm. I have seen Rhys Cleverly, the Caerphilly coach of youth, yesterday. He's looking a little bit worse for wear, but he is here anyway.
Good to hear, good to hear. Right then, Ferndale to kick off. Kieran Parrish lifts it high. A good contest in the air, won by Ferndale. So early possession to the men in blue. And will they go through the routine, through the patterns early doors? It was a youth finals day yesterday. Barely any kicking. Run it from anywhere was the message from the coaches. Enjoy your day at the Principality. It doesn't happen all too often. As we mentioned, Crumlin were here last year. And have they learned some lessons from that experience? And they win the first contest on the floor. Kieran Lewis with the jackal. And that'll be a good little confidence booster early doors. And I wonder as well, who won the toss? Do you play with the sun in 2 eyes in the first half? Or do you play with the shade behind you just to kind of settle in early?
Well, that's a great first turnover. Kieran Lewis, you know, as a back rower, that's what you want to do, get your hands on the ball early, in at the breakdown.
Good contest in the line now, tipped back towards Crumlin's side. Ferndale competing early with 2 jumpers. Cole Jones. Again, Lewis in the middle of it, looking to spread it early. Good spot blitz coming up. They ride the tackle well. Still an opportunity to try and use that width of the field. Crumlin have reloaded out wide.
You just think whether that one extra pass could have been needed there. They had 2 men outside of the fullback coming in, so possibly a little bit of glory in his eyes early doors.
Penalty advantage numbers as well on the right. Again, we see Lewis in amongst it. Space found on the right flank. Needs a bit of support. Good tackle, 5 metres short, Crumlin. First opportunity to get some points on the board. Hughes, he trundles up 5 metres. Still in the background. Switch of play by Jones. Looking to exploit that. Short side. Ball slowed up slightly for Cole Jones. Using Chess, the captain. Those runners, ever willing, Kyle Walton. Ferndale have regrouped defensively. Using the width, the runners coming on, looking to run towards the gates on those arms. And it's knocked on the floor. And a forfeit for Crumlin, but good defence by Ferndale after being breached on the right flank.
Absolutely. Good attack, a good defence. Organised defence of Ferndale. Crumlin going through all phases of play. Changing direction as well. This was the switch. Got a chance out wide. Hands through the tackle. Maybe, Adam, you know, 1 or 2 more passes through the hands and they would have had a chance maybe for the first score.
Yeah, perhaps early doors, but credit to Crumlin. They took their time there. They went through the phases. But a fair play to Ferndale. Any Ronda side you kind of come up against, they're going to be big and physical, and that was solid defence, to be fair. So they handled it well.
I'm sure this first scrum will be tasty. Gavin Spencer, Jacob Hill and Dan Lewis, the front row for Crumlin, going head-to-head with Andrew Headford, excuse the pun, Justin Rees and Curtis Whitford. And Crumlin gobbling up the Ferndale pack, and there's a score in there as well. No, short, held up, potentially Ethan Chess. Thought for a second, his side had crossed. Penalty advantage, forwards there, ready to latch on, to drive, to force their way over. The battering rams. The line is in sight. The dummy, the score, and Crumlin are over Ethan Chess, the captain. A lovely show and go, but it felt inevitable. A couple of phases, the forwards doing their best, and Chess, well, he'll be chuffed to bits.
Make no mistake about that. That's a try for the front row, that is, from that huge scrum. That's exactly what you want as a front row forward. First scrum of the game, pushing back a big heavy pack like that. Great drive, that sets the tone for the day. That was very impressive from the Crumlin 8.
Well, that is a big tone. Sean Hawley was saying yesterday in the commentary for the youth finals, that scrum is still king. Well, there was only one king in that battle, and Ferndale, if they can't pick up their socks in that facet of play, it's going to be a long old, I want to say afternoon, but morning of rugby. Easy nudge for Ryan Lewis. And Crumlin at 7 points to the good.
Well, Ferndale, perhaps, you know, Adam, we spoke before the game that we might have thought Ferndale was favourites here. I've spoken to a few people, you know, but the Crumlin has started on fire. Powerful pack. I thought that perhaps Kyle Walton had got that ball down, but the captain, Ethan Chess, did. I think it's his 10th try in 8 games. And things go from bad to worse now for Ferndale. Yeah, out on the full, a scrum on halfway.
You're right there, Reece. I spoke to the Crumlin coaching staff just prior as they were coming in, and I think they told themselves, I think the message is we're the underdogs today, so I think they're using that to their advantage, and they've come out absolutely blazing.
Yeah, Ferndale are not used to be behind. They have won every game so far this season in league and cup. "17 games unbeaten, Ferndale this season, and their route to the final will come up in just a second or so. Let's see if Crumlin, yeah, they just hold the scrum there, give a base, a platform for their backline to get running, and again they use that right flank, bringing in Strickland, and maybe targeting a weakness on that far side. Again, back to the forwards, Kieran Lewis against amongst it, and a show goal again by Ethan Chess. He's a willing runner early doors, and there's space on this left-hand side. The forwards are out wide. Out it comes to Dylan Foxwell. Does well to stay alive. Again, the same carriers. Big hit by Gethin Hockey. Again, some further numbers out wide. What a touch! What a control! And there's a chance for Corey Strickland. Strickland bundled over the touchline. But we've seen Gareth Bale over the other stadium in Cardiff with a few lovely touches, but that's one for the books.
A little clip of Brian O'Driscoll doing that on a Lions tour. Something very, very similar. Was it Ryan Lewis, the centre?
Let's have a look at this again. This is one for the show reel, isn't it? Oh, lovely touch by Ryan Lewis.
Regardless of what happens today, that story is going to be told a number of times throughout the day and night, let me tell you.
If it had scored, it'd been Zebo-esque, wouldn't it, against Wales? Remember that one at the Aviva? Crumlin. Back down towards their halfway line. Ferndale are 6s and 7s at the moment. There is a chase, but not one organised line coming up as individuals, but they do steal the ball on the floor, and Ferndale have an opportunity and the penalty. If this comes out quicker, it's been slowed down illegally, maybe wisely, a good penalty to give away in that position.
There's a huge overlap for this Ferndale back line as well, but obviously they're going to go back for the penalty.
And that's why maybe it was a good penalty to give away. Probably wasn't a situation Crumlin should have been in, considering the time that the back three had, but considering Crumlin's defence was everywhere and Ferndale had numbers their side, it was a good pen.
Yeah, I think, you know, what was impressive was that Ferndale didn't compete in that line out, so Crumlin weren't quite sure what was happening to drive it. Could they? Where was the ball in the rolling ball? And it was pinched, and I think it was cleared by the prop forward. I think it was Curtis Woodford, Mark Woodford, the head coach's boy, that put a right boot to it. But in great contest at the breakdown on halfway, and it's Ferndale now in the Crumlin 22.
Let's see what the boys in blue and red have to offer. First real attacking opportunity, shortened line out, 5-man. Find the jumper, good target. They peel off the back with Justin Rees. And here the carriers come, bouncing off, driven back in the end. The missed pass, slight miscommunication, but a nice bounce for Luke Harris. Here come Sam Hodder. Nice little step by Liam Jones, surveyed the first tackler. Jones.
It's good pressure from Crumlin as well. Not giving Ferndale any time on the ball.
Ferndale been driven back towards the 10-2 after winning the first collisions. And again, the big man, Curtis Whitford, with 3 in his back. Chris Jones keeping it tight, runners off 9. Crumlin competing. Have they stolen it? Yes, they have. Good turnover. And what an ankle tackle. I think by the hooker, Justin Rees.
Oh, he's won that penalty for Ferndale just by that tackle.
An ankle chopper, wasn't it? A daisy cutter. And we were speaking about the Scarlets yesterday. We were talking about the fly half there. Not the biggest of characters. Costello making every tackle.
Crumlin have turned the ball over, and I think it's the second row that comes in. Gethin Hockey, he thinks he's got more time than he actually has, and just gets absolutely chopped down to the ground by the hooker Justin Rees. And a penalty for Ferndale.
Yeah, Kieran Parrish straight for the posts, and I imagine right decision, get some points, close that gap, make it a 4-point game, and start again.
Yeah, definitely. I think Gethin would be having a word off a few players if it was in my team, I think, for picking and going on his own that close after such an important turnover, and he's probably cost his side 3 points there as well.
And that's slotted over by Parrish. So Crumlin 7, Ferndale 3. That's been an intriguing opening salvo. Crumlin using the might of their pack, or their scrum, to get on the scoreboard with a try by fly half Ethan Chess. Then Ferndale showing defensively they can turn that defence into attack quickly enough. Fumbled by Adam Jones, and here can, what a big handoff by Jordan Hughes. This game's physical. We said some big boys out there, and it's already proving to be a bruising game. Crumlin looking to re-establish their superiority on the field, and that's turned over on the floor. Strickland having to chase backwards. 2 blue shirts ahead of him. And there's an opportunity here. Space out left if Crumlin can take advantage. Running across field slightly. Foxwell cutting inside. Picked up by Simon Warren. That's hacked through again by the wing, and an early tackle. And Ferndale are physical in defence.
It seems like they've woken up a little bit now. They were a little bit of a start whereby they might have not been at the races for the first few minutes, but let me tell you, they are well back in this game right now.
Now this is the handoff. Boom, sit down. And it wasn't a small boy in Liam Jones that he sat down either.
There's a high tempo, Adam, to this game as well. A lot of turnovers. which means the ball in playtime is really high, you know. So the boys are going to be blowing. It's intense coming out here, and the first whatever we've got on the clock at the moment, you know, it's going to be tough. You'll have to have a second win in this game.
Definitely, Rhys. You can see one or two that maybe will have been keen as mustard to sort of get from A to B on the pitch at early doors. Might be a little bit lazier already at the moment. So, like you say, it could be a long afternoon for some if this pace carries on.
Yeah, 15 minutes in. Free kick to Crumlin. Yeah, they're trying to empty the tanks early doors as well, and they've got to keep something back. They've got to play a tactical game. As a free kick, a bit of a Gary Owen coming up.
Free kick, you don't have to tap that, you can just shunt it.
Well, that seems to be Luke Harris has onto that. I think he came off his boot. Where's that going to bounce? Harris appealing for a decision from the referee. Seemed like a knock on in the air by a yellow shirt and then hacked through by Harris. Come back for the scrum. We're saying need a second win. I imagine it'll be a second, third, and maybe fourth.
Oh, absolutely. Because a lot of the game has been played in the sun as well, and it is, you know, a baking hot a day there in the bowl of the stadium. You know, it does get very hot here in the shade. It's nice and cool.
Factor 50 required.
Yeah, I think so for some of them down there as well.
Looking for some shiny heads.
Yeah, a couple of burnt scalps, I think, the way it's going. Yeah, definitely.
Good shove again by Crumlin. But the ball's there for Ferndale. They come down the right hand side with David Gibbs. One way he was going, straight down the guts. Adam Jones offloads his back row partner Sam Hodder. Wins a metre or two, needs some support. Same direction, Simon Warren. Half a yard on that flank, gets around Dylan Foxwell. And Crumlin again, winning the ball on the floor. It's a competitive game on the deck. Both sides competing. And it's the importance of that support runner, isn't it? You try to gain a few yards, but you need to stay at arm's length from your players so they can get to you just in time to secure that possession. Another sit down.
David Gibbs been around for a long time. He's a 38-year-old. This is fourth final as well, so he's no stranger to the pitch down there.
He's too old to run round people.
Overrated anyway. Ferndale steal the possession. All the pack around the ball. As a swarm, they need to maybe fan out a little bit, unless they're going to pick and go from 40 metres. Whitford shoves off the first man. Parish out the back door towards Gibbs, flings it over. If that gone to hand towards Nathan John, maybe there's an opportunity, but the ball is still alive. Crumlin coming across. You do feel that Ferndale are growing into this, playing a tight game, allowing them to get a foothold territorially. Again, looking to exploit the left-hand side, the short side, into the 22. Bruce Jones is there, marshalling his men. Nice little tip on before contact with Crumlin. No mugs, up in numbers. A pick and go by Sam Hodder. Not the first time we're mentioning the open side flanker in play.
He's been very impressive early on. He's been absolutely everywhere as well, to be fair to him.
Gibbs, straight on. Balls on the floor. Crumlin not getting their hands on it yet to slow the ball down. They have been impressive in stealing. Offside, yeah. Free play here for Ferndale. Lazy runners on the fringes. Again, Hodder comes.
He's absolutely everywhere, is Hodder.
One more pass, one more phase. Two men out right. If Please Jones, out it comes. Good hands by the back row. Can he reach? Adam Jones. Steve Daniels, I should say the second row, uses his big frame to stretch over to the right-hand corner. What a man, 6'3", 135 kgs. And third time here at the stadium. That's a winger's finish.
Yeah, that was impressive from Ferndale as well. Good patience, good build-up. They used their big runners to make inroads. And I was going to say not to get it out to the nice nimble backs, but when you've got 135 kilo second row on the wing from that distance,
still quite nimble.
Yeah, I was going to say fair play to him. Yeah, but it was a very impressive finish. So fair play to him.
Does he fancy celebrating either, does he?
I think he's just catching his breath. But you know, that's what you get up with the clubs like Ferndale, and he played here for Cambrai, and he's been a stalwart up there. People move around clubs as well because that's the nature of rugby up there, and Ferndale have benefited from maybe Mark going over as head coach there and bringing a couple of older heads with him to get them to Principality Stadium.
That's a beautiful kick. Curled over.
He's happy with that one as well.
He's happy with that. He's pointing to the boots. Kieran Parish. As you see it again, what a pickup from the big man. From his toes, shrugs off 2 defenders, and Steve Daniels dives over. Crumlin 7, Ferndale 10. And Ferndale have reacted since that early disappointment, that early Ethan Chest try. We think back to that first scrum where they demolished. It's nearly sparked Ferndale to life. Oh, cheap penalty.
Yeah, Hodder offside. I think he has been everywhere. He's wearing 7, Liam Jones wearing 8. They're working really well in the back row,
Maybe that's why he's offside all the time.
Hey, that's half an open side's job, really, is it? Just don't get caught. And this guy Cole Jones, and I remember Cole, he's come through Coleg Gwent system. On Rugby Power, we would commentate on Cole, and he was absolutely everywhere. Even lost his shirt in one game, I remember. Completely came off. Did he mind? No, he played on.
Here we are then. Jacob Hill to throw in for Crumlin. They haven't been down here for a while. Good dart towards the back, comes out to Jones. The forwards there again in midfield. Uses a battering ram to start off with. Chess goes wide. They've sensed an opportunity on that right-hand side, but well marshalled and well defended by Ferndale, holding their numbers wide, marking up the individuals. Jordan Hughes.
Crumlin got a man down as well, 1 short.
It's difficult to see who is down. He's on the try line at the moment, so Hughes just Madden Smith. Yeah, and the referee, I think this could be a nasty knock. Brings.
I think Hodder almost had the turnover there as well, so they're probably a little bit fortunate for Crumlin that the ref blew up when he did.
I think it might be Kai Walton down, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, let's have a look then at the road these teams took to get here to the Principality as we're having a short break in play. If you start with Ferndale in the pool stage, they beat South Gower 17 points to 7, and then smashed Pennebank by 71 points to 7. Went on to play Prigos towards the end of January, 33 points to 14.
Prigos, Di Morris, the Shadows Club.
Then, as I mentioned earlier on, Ferndale beating Crickhowell comfortably by 22 points to 0, and that was maybe a marker for us for this one. Crumlin winning and losing earlier on in the season to Crickhowell. And then a close one towards the end of March. Tonner 14, Ferndale 15. Tonner would have been gutted, and it would have been a great weekend for them considering the youth team are here.
Tondi, that was. Yeah,
sorry,
Tondi, yeah,
I'm getting mixed up.
Reliably informed, it was a last-minute try as well for Ferndale and last-minute try and conversion as well for him to go through. So I think there was drama right at the death of that game as well in the semi-final.
Yeah, let's have a look then at the Crumlin fixtures. 45-0 against Magger. Crumlin 52, Beaufort 7. Then 81-0 against Pantyffynon. 24-12 against Forgeside in the quarter-final. And 27-3 against Pontardawe. Slightly more straightforward route here. Comprehensive winners in each and every round.
It was Joel Whitcomb, the full-back, that was down for Crumlin. That's what you get for getting involved in rucks if you're a back, Adam.
I'm a forward and I still don't like going in, and to be fair, Reece, so...
Close your eyes and hope for the best.
Exactly, yeah. Hold your breath.
Cole Jones under pressure, the back line there. Flings it out. So the starting move was probably gone. They'll have to regroup here, Crumlin. Forwards trying to come round the corner, rushing over. Ferndale in one blue blanket. Ferndale again matching them for strength on that gain line. Tyler Madden-Smith slightly isolated. The forwards get there in time to pile over and pile in. Dan Lewis involved, slightly upright, held up by Steve Daniels, a try scorer. Chess. Smith going through the hand, slightly lateral. You need to cut an angle. Going across field, Jones then to Chess again. Slightly losing shape here, Crumlin. Ferndale lurking with intent, but our numbers are in midfield. A metre or two gained. But good.
I think they pinched it. I think Ferndale have got the ball, but
illegally.
Just a little second movement, I think, was it?
Goes to his hands. Jamie Wicks, the outside centre in there, as an open side flanker. Let's look again. Tyler Madden-Smith with the carry.
Crumlin a little bit fortunate there. I think they looked a little bit limited in terms of their one-up runners. I think Ferndale are going to lap that up as the day is long. So I think they were a little bit fortunate to get the penalty, and they're going to take that 3 points. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think Sam Hodder ripped the ball in the contact against Madden-Smith. Not a time for everybody to take a breath. I think, you know, it's been pretty exhausting. 26 minutes since kick-off, and it's been all action at Principality.
Yeah, and that's converted. Because even Stevens here at the Principality in the Division 5 Cup Final. Crumlin 10, Ferndale 10. So from what we've seen in this opening, nearly half hour, Adam, who do you think the stronger side is?
I think Crumlin started excellently. I mean, they scored that early try, but Ferndale come back into it, but it's sort of evened itself out a little bit. I think it's noticeable that the pace has slowed down a little bit, but as I say that, Crumlin are on their way out. Well, come on, take this kid.
Oh, what a dummy!
Oh, there's another one for the show reel.
They're away with Foxwell, chips ahead, Chess is after it. Well defended, hacked away down the right flank, but again an opportunity for Crumlin to spread right.
There's forwards in midfield. Can they get the ball past them?
Outside, the loose end. What an ankle tap. Offloaded. This game is really sparked to life. Strickland held up under pressure, finds the deck.
That's one thing that'll happen in this, you know, standard of rugby is gaps will appear, people will tire a little bit quicker. Who will expose those gaps and chances? You know, that's the big thing.
And those mismatches will appear. Here's Jones. Over exuberant.
I think it was Andrew Ed for the tight end prop who made that ankle tap just then. So fair play to him, because there were two front row forwards lurking out wide for Ferndale. The Crumlin could have exploited. So he's, I think he's done his team a very big favour just there.
I think Headford and Whitford were in midfield. Headford was skinned and Whitford helped the brother from the front row out with an ankle tap.
It's not a front row union for nothing, Reece. Yeah, they all look after each other.
Where's this dummy? Up a daisy.
Whoosh. Yeah, and the mind not to try it again. Let the quick boys out wide have a go. That's good possession for Crumlin. Back into the 22 of Ferndale soon after scoring that penalty. Leave it to the big boys now to try and truck it up the middle. But I think Ferndale have got a hand on to this. And they've really disrupted that Crumlin rolling more. More than that, they've pinched the ball. Hacked away. And that's a good touch finder under pressure.
I think it was try scorer Steve Daniels has got in there, squeezed his way in, got his hand straight on the ball, come through the middle, perfectly legal.
That's so frustrating. As a forward, you know, you'd be rehearsing them all week. You know, if you're getting the line out of this position, we're going to maul it. And you just left gaps. You've just not got into your routine, into your positions well.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, sometimes you can do all you want, but like you say, the opposition, they find a way sometimes, but they will have practiced that time and time again not to have that outcome.
Bit of hesitancy in the carry. In midfield with Crumlin go out wide. Foxwell again in that scrum cap. Fancies a run. Under pressure. Yeah. Good turnover. Cole Jones, put the ball down. Not yours. Again, it's being aware, isn't it? I know you want to run with the ball. You've got maybe a one-on-one. But it was a two-on-one. Tries to cut inside. Maybe should have held back the run a bit. Waiting for support.
It's probably noticeable, I suppose, for myself, who've been involved with these events a long time. I think you see sometimes that where the two-on-one opportunity is there, sometimes the players think, I want to see my name up in lights rather than sort of put my mate in the corner to score, whereas they might likely do it on the Parks pitch on a usual Saturday. But it can be understandable, but more often than not, like you say, they rectifies itself in the end.
Ferndale win the line. Crumlin holding that early shove by the Ferndale pack, trying to exploit maybe a 2-on-1 down the blind side with Cole Jones, the 9, marshalling that 5-metre channel. And the pace is just dropping a little bit, isn't it? Not as frantic at the breakdown. People not committing, trying to jackal the ball on every occasion. Foxwell is there, spins it wide. Wickham.
It's on out wide again.
Exactly the same situation.
Again, he fancies a run. Boom. I fancy contact, but it's still on. Good hands. Finds the deck. Picked up by Strickland. A hack through. And that's a good nudge considering the ball he received. A nice little touch. And this is where Crumlin, again, we've seen ties in games, don't we? Now Crumlin's turn to keep the pressure on down here, not giving Ferndale easy possession, easy exits.
It's a good opportunity to put pressure on the Ferndale line out here. It's a bit of a free shot to see what they can come up with.
What would you call, depending on the numbers, just 2 men up?
Depends what the lineup's like. When you've got Steve Daniels, who's 135k, I'm not putting him up. I know that as a front row forward, so it's you're probably looking at Sam Otter or someone like that who's probably not more nimble on their feet.
Yeah, towards Adam Jones. Crumlin will just be happy to keep him here. Waiting for the box. Back to 10. Kieran Parrish who pumps it into touch. Wins 5 to 10 metres. And that's a difficult one, isn't it, Reece? We see kind of at the professional end, it's usually the box, because a 10-metre pass back, you've got to kick in a further 10 metres to win some ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Crumlin will be really happy with the outcome there. Put him in the corner, and they've kept him in the 22.
Good off the top ball for Crumlin. Smith uses. Lewis has a dummy runner. There's space for Strickland. Out towards Foxwell. Foxwell dragged down short, a metre short. Where's the supporting players? Good jackal by Luke Harris, the full-back. He's bundled over his own try line. There's an injury in there, but we're going to have, I think, a chat between the AR and the referee. Pick the bones out of that one, boys.
Yeah, I had the viewer saying earlier about white line fever. You know, and I thought, I can't remember who went through. Was it Strickland that had come across from the other wing? And I'm thinking, could he have gone? He couldn't. Good offload, good cover by Ferndale. And I think the outcome will be potentially a scrum 5, because I think that Luke Harris turned the ball over.
I think he did, and I think he was carried over and put the ball back over. So I think Crumlin could be in for a fantastic opportunity here following the last scrum when they were in this similar position anyway.
Yeah, Simon Warren receiving a bit of treatment. A good defence by Ferndale to scramble over. Great jacket by Luke Harris. Wins the ball. If you hadn't won it, it would have been a probable try, with the Crumlin forwards piling into that next ruck. But he has conceded a 5-metre scrum, and I'm sure Crumlin will be licking their lips. They will to get back ahead on the scoreboard with half-time approaching.
They're having a look at a potential head injury here, which is a massive part of the game, and you've got to be really careful these days. It's even more difficult on days like this, so you know, because you won't go off for 10 minutes. If you go off in this level of rugby, you're not coming back on, you know, so it's so difficult. Would you want to go off? You know, it's a tough one for the medical team coming on.
Yeah, at the end of the day, safety is paramount for them, so I think the decision has to be taken out of the players' hands, unfortunately, regardless of whether they want to stay off or not. We've got some great cover with our South Wales medical team who cover the events, so they'll be on hand for it, but I'm sure the medical staff will know what's best for the player.
Right then, Gavin Spencer, Jacob Hill, Dan Lewis with the first task for Crumlin. Ball's there for Cole Jones, off the base with Kyle Walton. Held up. Crumlin, Ferndale piling in, they'll try and win this in the maul. Driven backwards, but ball's there for the boys in yellow. Jordan Hughes with the second row, he's
Great
smashed
shot.
backward. Two-man hit on him.
Hodder again.
Yeah, they got a penalty advantage of Crumlin here.
Lewis. Chess with a dummy runner, lovely ball. But it's 1-on-1. Has to come back inside, has to look for support. Crumlin need a bit of patience here. On the angle, that's a better run by Jordan Hughes this time. Ooh, could there be a penalty yet? Off his feet, but luckily, fortunately, advantage being played for Crumlin and back towards the 15. They've taken it quickly. Cole Jones. There's an opportunity. Good tackle by Liam Jones. Try-saving tackle.
8 on 8 that was.
Oh, the whistle's gone.
I think the AR's coming in here. It's Damien Osborne on this side.
Has there been a score? Something's happened anyway, and I'm not sure.
You just hope Cole Jones has got away with one there, because taking that tap quickly could be absolutely criminal.
I think we took this decision against. Yeah, yellow card against Chris Jones, the scrum half. Jordan Morgan, the Ferndale captain. That's a penalty try. A penalty try, deliberate, intentional.
I knew it was a good idea for Cole
Penalty.
Jones to take the quick as well. Great shot.
What happens here?
Penalty try for Crumlin.
The jackal. There's a turnover. Not exactly sure.
Crumlin 17, Ferndale.
It seemed that Chris Jones was the instigator of any foul play or penalty, but that said, referee and his partner is there, and that's the decision.
Unless he was the initial tackler against Cole Jones and he wasn't back on the line, wasn't back, you know, far enough. It could be that, but it's a little injury as well. But it's a Crumlin this time.
But it's a penalty try. Crumlin are back ahead in this final, 17 points to 10 against Ferndale. It's a seesaw match on the scoreboard. There's only a couple of minutes remaining in this opening half. The first game of 4 here at the Principality today. The Division 5 Cup final. Gone backwards.
Must be the bane of all coaches, this restarts, you know. Even the Scarlets last night, they've been, you know, poor from the restart in Europe. And you see it so often, Adam, don't you? You know, you get a foothold in the game, you go ahead, great, restart, knock on, mistake, you're back under pressure.
Funny, Sean Holly said exactly the same thing when we were at the SD commentating on the Caerphilly and Llangwm youth ball game. Llangwm had just scored a penalty to narrow the score straight from the kick-off. Second row, big eye ball, straight knock forward. So it's or to give away a penalty in a situation like this, it's I think it's just one of those things. It happens across all levels of the game.
I think Sean Hawley was the oracle yesterday. He mentioned as well hitting the post and the crossbar in rugby matches. What happened? Somebody hit the post.
Well, it's great for Ferndale, this. You know, they've lost a man to the bin. This eats up time, and potentially they get a 3-pointer as well.
we've already seen Kieran Parrish nudge one over from the touchline. Oh, he's pulled that one. He'll be disappointed. Score remains Crumlin 17, Ferndale 10. He'll be disappointed with himself. Crumlin have gotten away with one. It's composure now, isn't it? Control the game with minutes remaining of the first half. You're 7 points ahead. Make sure that team talk happens with a 7-point lead remaining intact. Simon Warren under pressure does well. Evades the first one, bounce the second man off. Gets to the halfway line. Good Jacobite, Kieran Lewis doesn't get there, slows the ball down for Gibbs. Only one way, the inside centre's going. Hodder at scrum half. And Ferndale will be just winding the clock down and hoping for a shot at the post again. Forward pass, unfortunately, with Nathan John out wide. And that's the pressure of the defence, just coming up and forcing the pass to be given before he was ready.
It's quite brave of Ferndale, though. They've lost their 9, Rhys Jones, and they're still trying to play, and they are creating chances. If that ball would have gone to hand, there was a chance out wide there.
Yeah, definitely. It was the right idea. It was just a little bit poor execution, unfortunately. But they spread it wide. They created a good opportunity. And like you say, you never know what will happen now. But it was it's impressive. Fair play to Ferndale, as you say, Rhys, with a man down.
And definite tactical change with Rhys Jones, the scrum half off. Sam Hodder going in at 9, showing his.
You've got a chance for the scrum as well, though, because they're not defending with a 9, so you could pick around the blind there. The
Easy
wingers back
8-9 down the right.
Crumlin being Crumlin. Want to get a penalty at scrum time.
Scrum.
Turn it left as well, perfect for the back row to come around in support. Whitcomb puts his ears back, one more pass to show the pump, the double pump, and in towards the left-hand corner. Dylan Foxwell trots under the posts.
That sounds like a cracking surname, Foxwell trots. Very posh for a Crumlin boy.
And Crumlin have extended their lead. And that's a killer for Ferndale, down to 14. Crumlin exploit that one-man advantage to the fullest.
Well, Adam, we spoke about potentially going the other way, but Crumlin opened it right up, and for once, we talked about white line fever, but Whitcomb did exceptionally well then.
My heart was in my mouth, to be fair, Rhys, because he left that very late, and he'll say all along it was always going, but I think for a split second he thought, am I going to chuck this dummy? But no, very well executed, and a great team try from Crumlin.
Lewis toe pokes the extras. Crumlin 24, Ferndale 10. Doesn't seem a fair reflection of the score, did it? That gap now.
Crumlin are taking advantage of Rhys Jones's yellow card. They had a penalty try, 7-pointer. They got themselves under a bit of pressure, but they've gone, okay, they're down to 14. Let's play some rugby. Let's try and find the gaps.
Yeah, all credit to him. I think, like you say, we were amused about what happened with that penalty try, but they've taken full advantage, and all credit to them. I think they're sniffing blood a little bit. I think they're probably going to go for another go before half-time as well.
Trying to put this game to bed early. Parrish restarts, hangs that one up high in the air. Tap backwards, well dealt with this time by Crumlin, and here they go again. Then a load of numbers on the left flank, forward, in the middle, out to the try scorer, Foxwell. Dummies in, stays alive, tries not to be bundled in the touch. The referee, or the assistant referee's flags in there. Is it a shoulder charge?
Yeah, Kieran Parrish isn't a spot to bother here, I think. Could be another yellow.
If we had a TMO, maybe.
I think he's a bit of a lucky boy there, to be fair, because that looked blatant. He absolutely flew in there. But
he knew it as well, Adam, but he just stopped and thought, I could be in some trouble here.
Yeah.
Shows the ball inside. He just totally mistimes that, doesn't he?
Maybe not as bad as first thought from up here, but I think it was the correct decision anyway.
Yeah. Badly timed. It was the dummy, see? Threw him. Totally threw him. Jacob Hill then. Hits the middle jumper, balls there for the Crumlin Packs, who get a driving maul going, and they pile on the power. 10 metres, 15 metres. Now this will be tough to stop legally. Backline wanting it. Lovely run around by Chess. It's 3 against 2, 2 against 1 on the right-hand side. Wickham, white line fever potentially with Strickland outside him. 5 metres short and a turnover. Oh, the Crumlin coaching staff will be going bananas in the box. That a try written all over it.
Well, Adam, you said, you know, the previous score that we had for Dylan Fox, well, that you thought that Whitcomb wasn't going to pass, and he didn't this time.
From first glance there, I thought, again, very well worked. Chess at outside half is pulling the strings very well for Crumlin, but they defended it quite well. The fullback stayed on the winger as well, whilst the centres come back in, so it wasn't, it probably wasn't the worst thing he could have done, but fair play to Ferndale for gaining that penalty as well.
David Gibbs, I think it was, in there over the ball.
A cheeky front line move, bring in Steve Daniels. Yeah, Ferndale need to regroup, they need a chat in the dressing room. They're a man down and 14 points down in this first half. It's been a great day of rugby, or a start to a great day of rugby. Crumlin with the opening score, Ferndale fighting back. Then the boys in yellow are in complete control after a penalty try and a Foxwell score. Crumlin 24, Ferndale 10, half-time in the Division 5 Cup Final.
Whether you're playing in the shadows of rugby's greatest fortress, or in Wales's wild interior,
Thomas Williams will score for Wales.
you're part of our team, your team.
Around the corner they come through Snowsell, and Jasmine Joyce gets there.
The custodian of this jersey represents everyone else who wears it. From the verdant valleys of the south to the craggy mountains of the north, a try scored here began way back there.
Hannah Jones seals this victory for Wales.
Because every player's journey starts at a rugby club somewhere.
Out to David Butcher. Butcher back inside to Fenwick to Bennett. Oh, this is going to be the cry of the championship.
Government second try. Wales are storming to the title.
Without this, and without you, we would never get to witness this.
To put the seal on the win, to put the cream on the Grand Slam cake.
This jersey is your jersey. This game is your game. It's where we all, through the chosen few, become one. Ymlaen Cymru.
We back each other, we go to battle. They're going to pound away down this near side. Here comes Burgess. Lewis! Score! Wales are in front.
Try from Liam Williams.
You need groups like this that can have children who've got all different abilities and they can just blossom in that ability.
A lot of kids growing up like me are in the same position as me, might take on rugby because they've seen someone that might look like them or from the same area as them doing that.
We can use rugby as a vehicle to empower people to see that they can actually do much more, then it's worth its weight in gold.
Okay, Principality Stadium, here we go, a big second half behind for both teams. Let's go then, make some noise for both teams, Crumlin and Ferndale.
Second half of the Division 5 Cup final about to start. Crumlin 24, Ferndale 10. Ferndale in Division 5 East, Ferndale 5 East Central. And it's been a seesaw battle out there. Crumlin winning the opening early battle. Ferndale getting back in the game, but it's the two scores in the last 10 minutes of the first half that separates the teams on the scoreboard. And Ferndale, just to remind you, have Rhys Jones, a scrum half in the sin bin for probably another 5 minutes or so. And Crumlin are really smelling blood. A penalty going for the corner. And the rolling maul has been functioning, so I wouldn't be surprised that this will be stuck up the jumper.
Yeah, I think there have been a couple of changes as well. I think that 16 for 5, I think I heard, has come on for Ferndale. And they've also taken a winger off to get a scrum half on. Even Wheeler is on.
He'll be really wanting to make a difference. Sorry, I apologise. Yeah, it's the more, but they release the back line, surprisingly so. Boom, down the middle, they come, met with fire, the defence. But Crumlin 5 metres short, now using Dan Lewis, the tight end. Oh, he's fumbled forward. And Ferndale happy to hack that away anyway. And it's a good touch finder. That's another minute taken off the clock. But Crumlin, although they've got another bite of the cherry, that's an opportunity gone begging.
But there's a message to Ferndale at half-time, was try and keep it tight early doors whilst till Liam Jones comes back on. But Crumlin, again, they're going straight for the jugular early on in the second half.
That looks straight. Referee says yes.
Straight enough.
I haven't got my glasses, so everything looks straight.
Just to the right side of double top.
Good carry, good support. I think Cole Jones was getting in there. Smith and Lewis, the centre partnership held up by David Gibbs and Jamie Wicks. Have they stolen it on the floor? It's been stripped. Yes, it has. Ferndale again.
Well, Crumlin really want to take advantage, of the one-man overlap that they've got, 15 against 14, and they've had a couple of chances early on here, but lost the ball twice in the Ferndale 22.
Ferndale finding touch again in a similar position, but just can't get out that 22 area, inviting more pressure from that Crumlin pack.
Crumlin look so much more dangerous when they use their backs and spin it out wide. And I think if they're just going to play these one-up runners, Ferndale are going to absolutely lap that up. So they might need to have a think about how they're going to approach this this next phase.
That's a good throw to the middle. Sacked at the front straight away, legally, but the ball is carried forward and fumbled again. Errors. after
three good opportunities wasted now for Crumlin.
Yeah, and you know what, maybe the referee blew slightly early there. The kick was a decent one downfield, turning the Crumlin pack and back line to chase. It's back for a scrum. And I doubt that Ferndale want to scrum in their own 22.
And I think that Rhys Jones is actually back on. Just looking at numbers are out there.
Of his flop shirts.
No, he is back on. I think.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, 21 even Wheeler came on for Simon Warren, who took that bang in the corner earlier in the game. So I think it's 15 against 15.
Good engagement by Crumlin. That's 4 mistakes. Coach killers, especially that one. A good carry by Ferndale out of the 22. They'll be looking to build now once they're their scrum half on the ball. Kick downfield, chipping into space, and that's a lovely ball. Where is this going to bounce? Kindly for John, hacks it through. The chase is on for Ferndale shirts after the ball. Crumlin win the chase and win the race. Who has it? It's there somewhere. Crumlin in possession, looking for safety. Strickland doesn't find touch. Harris spins it out. Again, the replacement, Evan Wheeler.
Lovely offload.
And that's the open side. Hodder, the link man again. He's been everywhere. Good pick up by Parrish. He's gobbled up in the tackle by Kieran Lewis. Good hands by the forwards, tipped along by Whitford. Still alive. Adam Jones. Good placement. Gibbs. Could be on here, down. Still alive, didn't find touch. Still alive by Rhys Jones. Oh. It's all happening.
Bodies all over the place here. A lot of injuries a lot of niggles for Crumlin.
Penalty.
What do you do here, Adam?
14 points. Oh.
We'll take it quickly. Who cares what they do? They've gone. They've gone. And another penalty. Could that be a yellow card? Not 10. Ferndale, you feel like they need a try. The 2-try game at the moment. Good angle by Headford.
That double blow of the whistle by the referee, Dan Gethins. Usually not a good sign. This is either a talking or it's going to be a card.
Yeah, probably talking, considering that Ferndale haven't really offended all too often in the last 20 minutes or so. They've been in control. So it's a talking to, it's a warning, it's an official warning. Next one's in the bin, boys. Discipline. We've already seen big downer man.
There's one thing they look like they're doing here as well, Ferndale, to be fair. They're not even thinking about going for the post by the looks of things.
Is this the good old flying wedge? And Ferndale had a man short at the moment, one man in the backfield receiving treatment.
I think they're going to go for one of the Leinster moves, you know, that we've seen in the URC recently. Intricate move that head coach Mark Whitford has put together. No.
That's the Ronda version of intricate, I think, Rhys. Head down.
Justin Rhys pummeled backwards. Forwards sitting on the shoulder. The number 8, Liam Jones. Good strip by Headford. The loose head is there. He scored. Andrew Headford piles over. And the deficit has been shortened. Crumlin 24, Ferndale 15. And a fairly routine conversion to follow.
Credit to Ferndale there. I thought maybe the points would have been the most sensible option with such a long time on the clock, but they backed themselves, and good on them for getting over.
Really good old school play there. You don't see it much in the modern game, you know. Someone carries the ball, Headford goes in there and rips the ball from his teammate, in essence. I think it was Liam Jones carrying, and that's what you don't see a lot of these days, you know, real good skills in close contact.
Important kick, brings it back into a one-score game. We've seen Parish nail of beauty and then miss a slightly easier one, but that's routine enough. Crumlin 24, Ferndale 17. Game on, boys.
Yeah, game on indeed. You know, I think Ferndale have done exceptionally well, come out in this second half. They know they've got a big deficit to make up, and they've started it exceptionally well.
Ferndale making some changes, and that's Headford. We replace as well his. Shift is over. Kurt Jones is on in the front row. Ferndale take the restart. Not under pressure. That kick probably slightly too long to compete for, maybe but long enough to force a kick downfield. Nearly an interception in there. And Ferndale walk into touch. They dealt well with the restart, but then that's going to be frustrating for the coaches that they've not kept that ball alive.
Adam, you're the man to ask. Rules, if we're all square. No extra time?
There is extra time. We'll go, first of all, if the scores are the same after 80 minutes, we go on tries and then converted tries. And should they be level, then we have a period of extra time then. And if they're the same after that, well, I don't want to jinx it, to be fair, because we end up sharing the trophy, so that's not what no one wants.
No one wants to share a trophy, do they? We go to toss a coin? No.
Right. Not today, anyway. Not on my watch, no.
Yeah. So here Crumlin come. They want to win this one outright and hold the trophy for 12 months. That was knocked backwards in my book in the tackle, but the referee says knock on. I think that was a swinging arm in the tackle that dislodged the ball.
That's the advantage, really, of professional rugby and amateur rugby. You've got a TMO, you've got a load of cameras watching it. You can pick up little things like that, but this is community rugby. This is real rugby in my book, you know, and how it should be played. And the referee takes the onus. Yes, he works with his ARs, but, you know, he's the man in the middle. He's the guy in charge.
But a word about that. For the referee in the middle today and in all the games today, they won't be week to week refereeing with ARs. So this is a new experience for them. They're usually out there on their own, having to make decisions on the spot. And it's all about taking responsibility with what they see, and they can't make a decision beyond what they see with their two eyes.
No, definitely. They can only play what they see.
That's a great penalty for Ferndale. One against the head with Crumlin trying to pile in and take advantage of that early superiority in the scrum.
Crumlin looked like they had the nudge then as well, so it'd be interesting to see what the penalty was.
It's all about body angles, controls it, controlled aggression. And driving across, I think it's on the far side.
Yeah, it was. You could see Whitford pop up there. So I think it's the replacement. Nathan Evans has come on there wearing 16, not the loose head.
Missed penalty, missed touch, inviting pressure for Crumlin on the left. They spread it wide, don't really have the numbers. The reset to go again forwards. Come along.
Two good eights here as well, you know. Kyle Walton for Crumlin, Liam Jones for Ferndale, hammer and tongs.
And Ferndale really competing at the breakdown, slowing the ball, trying to steal it. And of course, 7 points behind on the scoreboard. Long pass, that's a dangerous ball for an intercept. Strickland with a show, the goal, the kick. Wasn't executed all that well, but the result all the same is probably what he was looking for.
Anywhere in that channel, you never know what the bounce is going to do, so I think he'll tell you and knew exactly what he was doing, but it's a good result there for Crumlin.
In Welsh, we'd call that a kick hossan.
Kick hossan?
Soccer kick.
I could use many worse terms in Welsh to describe that kick, but talking about Welsh, Ferndale in Welsh, Glyn Rhedynog.
Oh, what a name.
What a wonderful name. The town of Stanley Baker, a famous Zulu film, of course. Ferndale fans, thousands of them.
Crumlin. Oh, the referee. One in the chops. That happened, didn't it, at some point in the game.
HIA?
Scrum down, Crumlin ball, of course, they were in possession.
That's what you love to see, though. You know, that happened. Everyone's having a
referee get clobbered.
I'm talking about the players having a laugh with the referee, you know. I'm sorry, boys. No problem. You know, you got Curtis Whitford there giving him a hand. Are you all right, ref? Everyone checking if he's okay. That's the respect these players have got for the officials in the middle.
Crumlin won't mind the outcome too much. The scrum. Just need to control this, they do. And there they are, the ball's there in the middle, hooked backwards, turning towards the open side of the field. They need to release it before it goes round. It pops up, reset, Crumlin ball. And I'm sure the front row of Crumlin will be asking the question, are the Ferndale front row stepping up under pressure? Or have both sets of front rows gone up together? And it's a difficult one to call for a referee.
Yeah, Adam, you know what goes on in the middle here, you know. I think Crumlin knew they had the nudge on them in that previous scrum. A penalty went against them. You know, are they going to look to keep this one in?
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes this is a huge scrum, and there's the penalty.
Yeah, and it's gone around. Play goes on, and is that a score? Yes, it is. Cole Jones is over. Maybe technically, potentially, somebody argue it's not supposed to be a try, but the referee is the man with the whistle, and Jones exploits the lack of defence. The back row is taken out by the wheel. It's gone beyond the 90, that's what I'm calling for here. It's gone beyond the 90, so should the scrum be reset or for the penalty to be awarded?
Well, you know, you could argue that, you know, exactly what you said, but we've just spoken about it. One guy is in charge, he's the man in the middle, just listen to him. Whistle goes, you stop. If it doesn't, play on. That's what Cole Jones did.
That was impressive from the Crumlin front row as well. He was controlled more than anything. You could see him coming through rather than just go all guns blazing and sort of get milked the penalty like Ferndale did earlier on in the half. But that was impressive. And should they go on to win this, I think that Ferndale scrum will, that Crumlin scrum will be lauded by the supporters.
That's a difficult one now for Ferndale. They have started making replacements in the pack. Who can they call on to shore up the scrum? And that's flicked in off the upright. A lovely nudge, and Crumlin restore their 14-point advantage. Ryan Lewis with the boot, and Crumlin 31, Ferndale 17.
He's got a funny kicking style. He doesn't really hit it that hard at all, but it gets the job done.
It was like a toe poke there, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Wasn't the best of strikes, but it doesn't matter as long as it goes over.
Well, I think he's leaving the field of play as well.
Did his toe in? I think a couple of changes. So Ryan Lewis is off, with Scott Barnes coming on. And they have a couple of Ferndale players on the field as well. We'll confirm those replacements for you. Jordan Hughes gathers the ball, fired out by Jones, and here come Crumlin again. The numbers out wide, and they've identified the space really well. Out towards Foxwell on the left. That's a good counter-attack from deep. And for the first time we've seen Crumlin hold numbers in that wide channel.
They just look so much more dangerous when they go out wide. They seem to have overlaps. Ferndale's defence did scramble well, but again, I think that if they want to carry on like this is the opportunity they are going to need to go on and win this final.
Yeah, the offload just coming too late. Ferndale need to react. The overthrow bounced kindly towards Gibbs, I believe. Rhys Jones. But Ferndale need to react. They need to show some character.
I think throughout the season, Adam, that Ferndale have physically dominated a lot of sides, you know, and they've come up against Crumlin today, and it's a real arm wrestle for them, you know, and they'll have to play some rugby to get back into this one.
Oh, definitely. I don't think they're going to be used to coming up against such a physical challenge as they have today, considering the results they've had this season. And like you say, it's how they adapt and how they react to it.
Good kick into the 22. Foxwell
I'm sure he was doing there. Fancied a lie down for a second.
Well, the pitch slopes off. You go past the touchline and it drops down a little bit. I don't think he actually saw that. And he did a 9.6 roly-poly.
Is that now the Foxwell flop?
And I think he got a bit of jip for it as well.
Yeah, off us. What can Ferndale offer? Another overthrow. That's a killer. That's a killer. They need a score. And Crumlin can take their time here. Get their exit strategy. Back it comes, pumped up field. Towards the touchline. And the quick throw isn't on. And that's another tick in the box for Crumlin. And a minute scrubbed off the clock. That's 2 line-outs gone astray by Justin Rees, the Ferndale hooker. Easy enough, as we always say, to blame the thrower. But it's the timing and the intricate routine of the line-out. I think some changes.
Yeah, Adam, you can do interchanges in this competition as well. That's something that people who are watching might not realise.
Yeah, there's something that's been adapted across our competition, from our competitions committee across our national game in the lower leagues this season. So teams are entitled to up to 12 interchanges throughout the game as well.
So if you're not injured in that sense, you know, you can go off, have a sit down, come back on when you feel a bit fresher.
Remember Adam Jones for Wales? That's what he used to do it, isn't it? Play 20 minutes, then come off, then play the last 20.
Right.
Crossfield kick, looking for space. Runners won't really up. Poor decision. Poor decision wasn't on, but maybe he knew the penalty was on the way. And imagine Adam Ferndale will have to prod this into the corner again.
Oh, definitely. I think time is ticking now. I think this is going one way into the corner, and they're going to have to use those big forwards to try and get a foothold to try and get another try to get back into this game.
They put a few big lads on as well. Lee Jones fills that 18 shirt. Got some stats for him as well. 250 games, a Ferndale legend. Scored the winning try in the semi-final. Can he replicate that achievement and get on the scoreboard here at the Principality? Another misfire in the line-out. 3 from 4. Missed the target now in the last 5 minutes, and Crumlin gets to hack this one away. Spirals downfield. Chance for Luke Harris. Gets chopped down, shoves the replacement Scott Barnes out of the way. Nathan John, Askram half, cuts back in. Harris back on his feet to secure possession. Oh, this Jones fancies a snipe down the blind side. Sam Hodder, it's been quite in the second period compared to the first. Good run by John on the angle. Back inside to John. Steps. This is better by Ferndale. Quick ball. Sleight of hand. Now the forwards come. Is there a knock-on in there? Not quite, says the AR. Play on. Here's the big man, and that's a good tackle. Chopped down by Jacob Hill. Ferndale, if they bring this right. Good run, good pass, and it's a good score. And it's Andrew Hedford. Who's crashed over.
Yeah, Andrew
back
Hedford
on the field.
Yeah, he's come back on. He's playing hooker now. Justin Rees is gone. So Hedford has come back on in the middle of the front row, not on the loose head. And there's a great line by him, Adam. Picked it well in between runners.
Yeah, it was. Very good line. And a big lump from like that, it's going to be tough to stop from such close quarters.
A good play by Jordan Morgan. Knew Hedford was on his shoulder. And once again, Ferndale are not giving up.
I think Hedford's on a hat-trick now as well.
Yes.
So I think that's something that's going to be in the back of his mind.
We were saying this yesterday. A couple of players were on for a hat-trick. didn't quite get there. And how many tight heads have scored hat-tricks at the Principality? I can't name one. There probably is, maybe. I'm not sure. The conversion is good, 31 points to 24. We're back to a 7-point game. Crumlin 31, Ferndale 24.
It's tough on days like this, Adam. You know, you've got a full squad down here. Some guys are missing out as well as travelling reserves. You know, it's a tight game. Does everybody get time on the pitch? What's your opinion?
It's tough. I mean, considering the circumstances, I suppose from a coach's perspective, is if you think these changes are going to win you the game. I mean, I understand it's a great occasion, but first and foremost, you want to win the game, don't you? So unless it's going to be a benefit to the side, personally, I don't think they should be made. Obviously, circumstances dictate. If the teams are a couple of points ahead and you think the game is won, then obviously they're going to empty their benches. But I'd be surprised if there was any sentiment coming into it at the moment for these replacements.
But with the interchanges you can do as well, there is a chance to give someone game time, isn't there?
Yeah,
you know, so
yeah,
come on, and you're going to give them 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and take them off.
Give them a minute, bring them off straight away. No, it is a good idea because, you know, again, it's a community game, isn't it? Participation is part of that process.
Yeah, it was an initiative brought in after COVID, I think, because players would have been so long without playing, and it's been adapted quite well. I think it's been received quite well as well, so that's why it's been kept in.
Ball's touched in flight. A second toe poke by Parish doesn't quite connect. Crumlin, again, if they could sling this one wide, a couple of long passes, they can get on the outside edges. But Ferndale would have some wind in their sails after that last score. They know one more score. Well played, out towards Foxwell.
Crumlin do exceptionally well to get the ball out wide, outside that 13 channel of Ferndale. Hasn't gotten quite the plan this time, but they've done it many times in this game.
It's not the first time they've slightly maybe overrun the ball, not holding their depth that wide. And here we are. From this angle, you'd say it's not forward, but again, the angle of the camera doesn't help us. Further substitutions. Luke Harris is replaced, the full-back.
Also leaving the field, number 7, Sam Hodder, and in his place, number 19, Thomas Davis.
With Sean Griffiths. 20 is back on the field. Now this is a big scrum for Ferndale. They've been suffering, they've been feeling the pain. Quick channel 1 ball, a bit of a feed in there to help out. Oof. Hodder there does well to get that one, scraps it back. Ferndale in possession, they've lost 10 metres or so. Crumlin trying to get the jackal in, and they do so effectively. And look, the players applauding, backslapping each other. A big decision. Now Crumlin to relieve that pressure to get downfield. And Ferndale, they'll be disappointed. They had support runners there, just labouring to that breakdown. Crumlin, a big error, not finding touch. And it's a lovely kick downfield. Now what's the chase like? In ones, in twos, that's allows the players in the back line to pick their heads up. And yeah, a turnover. Cool heads.
Yeah, you feel the tide is turning a little bit. You know, Ferndale have got a little bit of momentum. Penalties going their way. Another decision by Joel Whitcomb there to carry rather than clear. Could have been on, could have passed, could have kicked, but he didn't, and they're under pressure.
I think anything he would have done would have been better than that, because he's just cost his side potentially, whether or not they go for the points or whether they go for the corner.
Yeah, they're going to go for the corner, but that's an interesting call.
Well, he hasn't put it in the corner. I'm just looking at the tries. You know, we talked about it being a draw. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4 tries for Crumlin. 1, 2, 3, so another converted try, and we're all square on tries and conversions.
Yeah, that's why I think in midfield, getting to the corner is not easy. Still a way to get to the touchline. 3 points. It's a 4-point game. one try, you win it. I'm sure Crumlin then really feel the pressure with only 4 points as a buffer on the scoreboard. And the Ferndale line now just isn't functioning. Is that 5 out of the last 6 that they've missed?
That's a number in the red zone that have gone awry. And like you say, there's no way they're going to win this game if they continue with the line out not functioning.
And that should be 2 set pieces, scrum and line out under pressure. And if you haven't got a platform, it's difficult to see how you can win games. So it's a credit to them. They're only 7 points behind.
I was going to ask, are they going to shorten the line out? You know, because simplify it gives you more of a chance, and that's what Ferndale have done.
3 man, sir. Again, floated over the top. The Ferndale fans frustrated. And Crumlin spin it wide. That's been brought back by the referee.
Yeah, it was a knock-on, I think, there. Ferndale fans got their side a scrum there, I think, you know, brought to the attention of everybody.
And it is a big occasion for the referees as well, isn't it? I'm sure Daniel Gethings will be feeling the pressure himself.
First time he's refereed here, I had a chat with him before the game. I think they've all been assistant referees at Principality, but, you know, this is something different, being bang in the middle.
Let's go,
Again, Crumlin using that scrum to good effect. Hodder potentially going the wrong way with that scrum wheeling.
I think anyway was a good way to get the ball out of there, because I think Hodder's gone to 8 as Liam Jones has gone off.
Penalty advantage for offside. Free play for Ferndale. Chance to throw caution into the wind. They'll take the penalty, offside. What do you do here then? Line-up's not working. Do you go for the corner? They're not really gaining much ground with the taps and goes. Do you just take the 3 and then regroup and go again?
You maintain possession with a tap and go, so I'd potentially look at doing that. Or you make a change, you know, and, you know, do Ferndale bring Justin Rees back on if he's all right, you know, and then he's had a bit of time on the bench to recuperate, and then he's back on.
Yeah, and the referee did have a word with Crumlin earlier on about number of penalties and discipline. He's had another one, knowing that penalties are probably starting to escalate again down this area, and that's a better nudge. Midway into the 22 of Crumlin, and it feels like this is make or break now for Ferndale. They need to score. They need to secure possession.
One more try. Well, simplify it at the front.
That's as simple as you can get.
And then they lost the ball.
Twice back. Here come Crumlin with possession. They'll be happy just to get rid of this. Ferndale drop players back into the backfield. That's pumped away by Ethan Chess, the captain. Runs aside 10-15 metres or so. Good enough.
Yeah, they can't quite clear the ball efficiently, can they? The Crumlin have turned Ferndale over 3-4 times in the 22, but they're not really got anywhere from turning them over.
Five-man line out to the middle, tipped backwards, somehow scrapes back onto the Ferndale side. In possession. That's a penalty dropping on to the man on the floor. The cheap penalties give away, and Ferndale nearly getting to the edge, but Gibbs cuts back inside, places the ball back. No real impetus to this attack yet, but what can Sam Hodder offer? Draws in a couple of defenders. Now Ferndale do have plenty of shirts to the right. Forwards, it's only one way they know, straight down the middle. They probably wanted a bit more guile in the attack, and that's a lovely ball over the top. Finds Evan Wheeler.
He needed some 21mm studs on there, but this could be trouble for Crumlin.
Now this could be a game changer. It's a yellow card.
That was a drop down, was it, I think, on the man?
Yeah, is it Jacob Hill?
Kieran Parrish really getting the crowd rolled up there. I think Ferndale it's a huge opportunity for him now in the last couple of minutes.
Now that's going to hurt the Crumlin set piece. The hook is off. They'll have to bring another hooker on at some point, I'm sure. The Crumlin are their own worst enemy at the moment. With the superiority at scrum and line out, you'd think they'd be well in control of this contest. But maybe those nerves are jangling. It's the cup final here at the Principality, the Division 5 Men's Cup Final. Crumlin 31, Ferndale 24. The crowd really getting behind their teams. That's better. Straight enough, says the referee. Twists, turns. Hasn't formed effectively for Ferndale. The ball's there, the possession's there. The back line are going to roll the dice. Runners come in, getting each other's way. Is that a accidental offside?
I don't think there was no real obstruction there.
Evan Wheeler out towards John. Forward pass. Trying to exchange shirts early before the final whistle, I think. But that's an opportunity missed. And here's miscommunication.
This will be interesting for Crumlin now with a man down in the forwards, considering how dominant their scrum has been, especially in the second half, to see how they can react. Because if they can milk a penalty here, they're going to be ecstatic.
Yeah, and I think the open side has gone in. Tyler Madden-Smith, he's gone to the middle of the front row, and I think that's the way rugby's going at him. Is that you've got to be kind of multi-skilled as a player. You can play 9, you can play a winger as well. You're a back rower, but also can play in the front row.
You see these hybrids, as Eddie Jones called them. You've seen some of the issues with Jack Noel when he was tempted to play in the back row from being on the wing. But like you say, that's the modern player nowadays.
Ferndale looking to attack from deep. 1-on-1. Wheeler tries to step his man, but slips. The ball's available. Stolen by Crumlin on the floor. And Ferndale not rolling away. And Ferndale compounding errors. And Crumlin, I'm sure the supporters will have a sigh of relief.
It's a guesstimate how long is left, because we haven't got a game clock. You know, the referee is the sole arbiter of the game clock, and we've got about
10 minutes,
4 or 5 minutes. What do you reckon?
Just in the 5 apparently. Whispered in our ear.
Still plenty of time for Ferndale to get another try. Crumlin definitely in the ascendancy here after they withstood a lot of pressure for the last 5 to 10 minutes.
Only takes a second to score a try, doesn't it? One break. Can somebody put their name in lights? And Crumlin just tuck it here for as long as they can, crabbing across field. Flicked out. And here comes the attack, bringing in Whitcomb. Lost the ball. Hodder gathers it. This Jones. Back to Hodder. Or I should say, Jordan Morgan. The scrum cup's confusing me. And what can Ferndale offer now then from this position? What would you do then, Adam, from here?
Well, they've got to get this ball back at the scrum first. I think first and foremost they've been under enormous pressure. So credit to the back row in cleaning up the mess. But obviously there's going to be a bit of a stoppage here. But they need to get back down in the Crumlin half first and foremost and go from there.
A tactical need by Headford, maybe a chance to get some messages on and a swig of water.
Well, you know, you look at it, you're thinking, who's going to come on? Have they got fit front row forwards? Will we have an uncontested scrum?
Is that the tactical decision? And he seems to be in pain. He's holding his back, so I think he's generally struggling. The loose head prop.
Yeah, well, you're just wondering if the replacements that have gone off have been replaced because of injury, then, you know, they can't come back on.
Yeah, Headford is heading for the dugout. Scrum down, Ferndale ball. Just to remind you, 31 points to 24 to Crumlin. 4 tries to 3. If Ferndale did manage to score and convert, then it would be extra time. All would be even. Tries scored, tries converted. I'm sure Crumlin would love a penalty here. An opportunity to go for the post from the resulting scrum. But Ferndale deal with it well. Have they knocked it on the deck? Yes. And that's what it means to the Ferndale front row. And it's a 7-man Crumlin pack, of course, with Jacob Hill, the hooker, in the sin bin.
Oh, you called it, Adam. You said, you know, they're going to get the ball back from this scrum first, and they're under too much pressure, which they have been for almost 80 minutes.
The commentator's curse. I said, oh, well, they've been doing and cleaning up all through the game, and then the most important one, unfortunately, Sam Odder knocks it on for his side.
If you're a Ferndale fan and want to complain about the commentator's curse, get in touch. Crumlin, maybe don't need to play expansive rugby, just keep it close, keep it tight, just play the clock. Little dart down the blind side, came back in to support all the forwards. The carries aren't quite as intense as they were within in the first 10 minutes. Some tired bodies, tired legs out there.
They've gone back down to second gear, I think it's fair to say.
That's a mess there. The whistle's gone. Has it? Yes, it has. For a second, I everybody stopped for a bit of a scrap. Bit of mess in the back there by Ferndale. Scrum down, Crumlin ball. Tristan Butler onto the field. And it's Sean Griffiths back there. Gets a bit of jib for his mistake as well. We have a Crumlin injury for the time being. Just
there's no official sort of player of the match today.
No,
you know, but
fancy a chat about it, boys. Let's look at Crumlin stuff with who stood out.
For me, most probably, I'd really like to look at their 8, Kyle Walton. I thought he's done really well from the base, you know, and controlled and carried really, really well in what's been a physical battle. And Chess, Ethan Chess, the outside half as well, has orchestrated well and got them outside that 13 channel.
He's been moving the pieces around the board, hasn't he?
You're full of them today, Oz. Full of them today. Will it be checkmate, Crumlin?
Oh, here they come. Sending the pawns down the middle to start off with.
Morgan Smith as well in the centre has had a good game.
Yeah, Kieran Lewis as well. He's been a hard carrier in the back row.
And Crumlin, not long left now. They've got to listen to the referee. He'll be giving all the messages out there.
Yeah, they'll be asking every play now. How long, ref? How long, ref? I'll tell you when it's over. Penalty.
That could be the one. That could be the crucial moment.
Yeah. But they'll wind the clock down here. And maybe go for post as well. A 3-pointer. We'll put this game to bed. Oh, that's bobble 3. Could be more than 3 points. It could be 5. The referee is going to have a second to think about it. Ethan Chess has dotted down.
Damien Osborne, the AR's coming across. You know, this is a difficult one because I think he scored, but we've got the luxury of seeing it on camera. The referee, the officials haven't. Yeah, I think they've got that bang on. Fair play to the officials.
Ethan Chess started the scoring. Now he's finished it, and his try will be enough to secure the Division 5 Cup in the name of Crumlin.
Yeah, a bit fortunate with the deflection there, but credit to him, he chased it down. He just wanted it more, and he has been very impressive, like we mentioned throughout the game today. Chess, fair play to him.
And it is now game, set and match, or checkmate, as we said.
I think that is it, those, because you know, look at Crumlin, they've not retreated back to where they would be for a restart.
Scott Barnes slots in the extras, and that is the final whistle. Chess with the final score to put the game beyond any sort of doubt. Crumlin victorious in the Division 5 Cup final. Crumlin 38, Ferndale 24. And Adam, Crumlin worthy winners.
Oh, 100%. We spoke yesterday about teams sort of the losers of the teams and looking to bounce back. And I remember speaking to some of the Crumlin members of staff saying, well, we had a sniff of it last year, we want to go one step further next year. And they've obviously prioritised that. And there was one thing they wanted. They turned up today. Like I mentioned earlier on in the commentary, I spoke to the coaches. They felt as though they were the underdogs. They used that to their advantage. And they just outplayed Ferndale in the majority of aspects of this break today. And it was absolutely thoroughly deserved.
You heard Reece there talking about a standout player. We can't officially award man of the matches, as it were. But who's your standout for Crumlin? Would it be Ethan Chess?
I think it would be, yeah. I think fair play, probably a disservice to maybe some of the forwards, because the front row especially and the replacements were dominant, and they gained such a foothold for their team in terms of penalties, in terms of that dominant scrum. But Chess was good. Everything went through him. Quite a silky runner, good distribution, and he got himself a great try as well at the end.
Yeah, that's the difficulty for a front row or a front five unit. Because they're a unit working together in unison in that pack, it's difficult to pick out one individual who's contributing more than another.
Everyone thinks it's them more important than the other one as well. So being a loose head, I always said, tell my tiger, yeah, you'd be nothing without me. But no, it's like you say, that was a very much a team effort. They were a well-drilled side, well-structured side. They used their weapons well. The line-up and scrum were absolutely solid. They're the platforms on which any good side will build their foundations on, and that's what they did today.
Yeah, it's the old adage, isn't it? The scrum or the forwards win new matches, and the backs decide by how much.
Exactly, yeah. And I was absolutely spot on with this game today, to be fair.
Yeah, but Ferndale, fair play, they did play their part as always in every cup final. You need two teams, and Ferndale were worthy opponents and did make it difficult on a number of occasions for Crumlin. They didn't take their foot off the gas. They had opportunities. The line-out in particular just didn't give them a platform when they were in the 22 to launch any real effective attacks in that second half.
Oh, 100%. They were their own worst enemies. I mean, you can't win cup finals on the Principality Stadium when you lose in 6 or 7 throws within your opposition 22 when you're 7 points behind. It's just, they'll look back, they'll realise what's happened, and they'll regroup, no doubt, and mark Whitford. But it's like you say, it's frustrating for them, but they've only got themselves to blame to an extent in that area. But credit to them, they stuck in. The score might flattened Crumlin a little bit towards the end just because of the late try, but it was very much nip and tuck for the majority of that game.
And it sets the standards, isn't it, for the rest of the proceedings here at the Principality today. It is Men's Cup final day, and this is the first of 4 matches here. The Division 5 final between Crumlin against Ferndale has been decided in the favour of Crumlin RFC. The Division 4 final is to come at 1:15 between Nantaglo and Bryn Cethin. 3:30, Division 3 final, Abertillery against Fadra. And then the big one for today, that is Aberdare against Morriston. Kick-off 6:45.
There'll be 3 more fantastic games, and that set the tone for this one. I mean, especially that Aberdare and Morriston. Reading the teams and some of the information that the clubs have sent us, I believe that every single member of both squads have come through their mini and junior ranks. So what a day for all involved for those clubs. It's that's going to be one hell of a match, and by all accounts, every man and his dog from Aberdare are coming up as well. So I think we'll have hell of a crowd on hand.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're shooting off in a bit. You've got your own game coming up. Old Ilts against?
Yeah, it's the El Catlico, we call it, instead of the El Clasico. Old Tyrians against St Albans this afternoon, so I'm going to go down there for a nice friendly couple of hours, and then I'll be back later this afternoon.
Yeah, so as we're missing your company until potentially the last match between Aberdeen and Morriston, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Division 4 final, Nantaglo, Brinkethin, who are the favourites? Who's your money on?
Well, Brinkethin made last year's ball final when they were in Division 4, playing against Division 3 sides. So I think on paper you fancy Brinkethin. I know they haven't lost for a fair amount of time. So, well, I'm absolutely useless because I probably picked Ferndale in the last one. But if I was going to put money on it, I would say Brinkethin would probably be the slight favourites in Division 4.
Abertillery, Vadra, Division 3.
Again, another very close one. Abertillery haven't lost, I believe, in over a year. So I think they're probably going to fancy themselves in that one. I'm going to go with Abertillery in a very, very slight win.
Then Division 2, Aberdeen, Morriston.
Oh, this one could go either way. I wouldn't like to put my hat on that. I'm going to sit on the fence for that one and say we're going to have a draw in extra time. We'll end up sharing the trophy probably for that one.
If you get that right, I'll buy you the first beer tonight. But that one thing's for sure, Crumlin are the winners of the first match-up today. The presentation team are just getting organised. And to the side of the shot, we are seeing both Nantaglo and Brinkethin are on the field warming up, going through their routines. The sides do have an opportunity to have a quick warm-up next door at the Arms Park, and then they come over to the biggest stage of all just to have a feel of the surroundings of the Principality Stadium. And here we are, the runners-up in the Division 5 Cup final, Ferndale. They were in it until late on. We're ahead for a small period of time. 10-7 halfway through the first half, and Crumlin never looked back after once they took the lead before half-time. A devastating 10-minute period, a penalty try and a Foxwell score, securing a 24-10 half-time advantage for Crumlin, and they powered through to the end, and Ferndale receiving their well-deserved trophies from Colin Wilkes and Ray Wilton.
Colin Wilkes is our chair of our competitions committee, who's a District A representative as well, from which Crumlin are from, so he'll be delighted to award the trophy to Crumlin and the side.
Crumlin, there they are. It's obviously usually a long week, isn't it, waiting for a cup final. You practice, rehearse, you dream about this moment. Your moment in the spotlight as a club, as a team, as a group of friends. Winning a cup final at the Principality. And here they step up to receive their winners' medals. Each individual filling their shirt with complete pride, passion. I've gone a step further this year, as we've already mentioned. Runners-up last year and plotted a master plan to go on a step further this season. Handshakes all round, smiles all round. Cole Jones coming through there. A thorn in the Ferndale side for the 80 minutes. And they line up out of shot behind the plaque. I'm sure that will find a home in Crumlin Rugby Club. The replacements, the coaches, everyone playing their parts, receiving their medals. And Ethan Chess, the unofficial player of the match, tucks his medal away in the pocket. Flings it away, I should say. And here he is. The handshake, the trophy, the cup, the photograph. Now we're going to see champagne popped up.
No, no, not today.
Not on the grass either.
Not on the grass. We've got too many games to be played. Yeah, so
they'll be
no strict orders. They can spray the water all they want, but that's all they're having.
And there we go. The Division 5 Cup champions, Crumlin RFC, and Ethan Chess holding the cup aloft again. Enillwyr cwpan 2022-23 adran 5 ydy clwb rygbi Crumlin a Rhys Gair bach yn y Gymraeg cyn bod ni'n symud ymlaen i'r gêm nesaf. Crumlin yn falch iawn o'i perfformiad nhw a hefyd yn heiddiannol yn cael codi'r cwpa yna.
Ie, oedd hi'n gêm arbennig yn y rownd derfynol, ni'n meddwl Crumlin yn erbyn Glyn Rhydynog, y ddoi dîm yn gadael popeth mas yna, a dyna'r unig beth mae'r tîm yn fforddi. Y pentrefi yma'n gallu gofyn o'i chwaraewyr yw roi popeth yn y frwydr i gipio'r cwpan, a Crumlin ath a hi, a dwi'n credu bydd y neb yn dadlau ta falle at nhw oedd yn heidi fe.
Ie, sgwrs terfynol, mae'n y stadiwm Principality yn y rownd derfynol cynta o'r dydd, tair gêm arall i ddod, Crumlin 38, Ferndale 24, and that's the final score in this first cup final as Crumlin have their photograph taken with the Division 5 Cup. Crumlin 38, Ferndale 25, and if you did miss any of the tries, and there were plenty of them in this contest, well, we have some highlights coming up for you, but stick around for the other 3 cup finals.